here with us. She will talk to us about autism and the chlorine dioxide treatment that she administered to her two sons. And she followed Kerri Rivera's and Andreas Kalcker's protocol. And Helena, why don't you just introduce yourself a little bit to everybody listening now and say a little bit about you and your sons and your family life and who you are and where you're from.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Helena Schlachter and I live in Dubrovnik, Croatia. I'm married for 8 years now and we have 3 children. I'm from here, from Dubrovnik, and my husband comes from France, so we have double nationality. We work here in Dubrovnik and we work in tourism. Our 3 children, our firstborn, his name is Philip. He is almost 8 and he was diagnosed with autism when he was only 1.5 years old. And our other son is 1 year younger, so he's almost 7. And he was also diagnosed when he was 2 years old with ADHD plus autistic symptoms. And we also have Calista Maria. She's 4.5. So this is us, our family.
Okay, wonderful. And your last one didn't have any symptoms, so it was just the first 2.
No, Calista Maria is completely healthy.
Okay, and could you go a bit into how the diagnosis was done, what the deficits the kids had that made them autistic or made them different? When is it that you first noticed that there was a difference between your kids and other people's kids?
Well, I will start like this. Before my kids became sick with autism, I never heard about autism, so it was really something new for me. And our firstborn, Philip, he was developing normally until he reached 1 year and 2 months. That is when he was developing normally, so he was sensor and motor perfect. He started to talk. He was normal. And when he was 1 year and 2 months old, he got that MMR vaccine. And one day after he got that vaccine, he was vaccinated. He also got fever that was really high, and I called our doctor, family doctor, to ask what is going on. And she said, okay, sometimes it happens, wait for a day or 2, just take care of his temperature, don't let it be too high, and everything will be back to normal. And so we waited, and after 3 days he went into complete regression. So he woke up and just started to look at one point at the wall, and he never came back. Everything shut down. He became unverbal, unemotional, and nothing. So it was when we saw that we were really panicking because that wasn't our child, and I took him right away to hospital. And when our doctor saw him, she said right away he fell into autism. So now you will go to Zagreb and do all tests. And okay, so we went to Zagreb.
Just a quick question. Yes. So you did see the clear difference between before the vaccine and after the vaccine. So there was no doubt in your mind that this was caused by the vaccine, because he was a totally healthy kid before this and changed rapidly, really almost immediately after the vaccine. Did I get this right?
3 days after he got the MMR vaccine. So 3 days before he was completely normal, and 3 days after he shut down completely. It went into complete regression. Mm-hmm. So something like that is very hard to not to notice. So That was it. We didn't actually know that it was autism, and when he went into regression, before I even went to the doctor, so in those few hours during the morning, I googled his symptoms, so, and it showed me autism, and then I really started to panic. And then we put him in the car and went to see our doctor. And when she saw him and that he doesn't even make contact with her, and he would make normal contact with her before, she said it's autism. He fell into complete regression. Go to Zagreb now.
And did these doctors speak of a vaccine damage, or did they just speak of autism as a separate kind of thing? Like, did they notice, did they say anything that this could be due to the vaccine, or were you completely unaware of this still at that point?
Well, when we were doing tests in Zagreb, it lasted for 15 days, and we had 10 different experts working on Philip, on everything. So later, when everything was finished, after that 15 days, they gathered and to write down diagnosis, and that's the best hospital we have here in Croatia, in Zagreb, our capital. It's called Klaicheva Hospital for Children. They all agreed it is autism, and I told them that when they asked me when did this happen, I said after he got that MMR vaccine, and they said, okay, great, we have many children, and this year it's like 50% more children than last year, and it's 90% after vaccination. So guess they knew it. So it's not confirmed anywhere. So they can say what they see, because they are not experts for vaccines, or I don't know. But children that come there to get a diagnosis, they 90% come after MMR vaccine.
So they did say that to you, but they didn't officially confirm it. So they did say
no.
what they saw, but they didn't really at that point say, oh, this is for sure from the vaccine. They just said to you, well, we see that this happens a lot.
No, the thing that they said is that they are not sure where does autism come from. So is it the vaccine that caused it? Is it something that already lived inside my child? And that vaccine, when he got that vaccine, that autism just broke through, so become visible, and that maybe just vaccine did something to so autism could get out of his body, and that was maybe it was already somewhere inside. So that's the explanation they gave me. But later,
okay. So they said the vaccine could have triggered something that was already sort of inside of him.
Maybe vaccine was the trigger for something that maybe already lived inside Philip. But the thing that I told them was that my child was completely normal. That it's not possible for a child to even if he had autism on the inside, I would notice something. He was developing normally. He was a normal child. So it's not possible in 3 days. My God, it's not like 3 years. It's 3 days for a child to go into complete regression. So, and that's not the only case. 2 weeks ago I was doing some tests with Philip, and there was also a woman with a child, and the child just 3 days before got the MMR vaccine and went into complete regression. So she was waiting for tests also. So it happens.
So you've met lots of women and mums who went through. Yes,
of course. We have unofficial. So in Dubrovnik we have 45,000 people in Dubrovnik area, and around 1,000 children with autism, ADHD, and other things, other issues. So it's 1,000 children. It's not 10 children.
And the hospital also recognized, you just said some figures as well, that they did recognize the link between the vaccines and autism, and that they said that 90% of the kids who come there with autism actually did get the MMR vaccine.
Yes, they said that. And when I came back to Dubrovnik, I went to talk to our doctor, and she was already very old, waiting to go to retire. And she was really mad when I said that doctors from Klaicheva hospital, they suggested that maybe vaccine was the trigger, or I don't know, maybe vaccine even caused this. And she was so mad. She said, okay, then you would, are you telling me that I'm guilty for half of the autistic children in Dubrovnik, that I was giving them those vaccines? So I decided to shut up because she was really mad, and
she didn't want to feel responsible for this, basically.
Yes.
And so what happened afterwards? So when did you start searching? Did you already start searching for solutions, or what this could be and how you could heal this with your first son, or did it take some time and then you sort of started looking into solutions once your second son was coming down with similar syndromes?
No, we started right away, because when Philip fell into autism, I just came back home with another baby. Daniel was born, and we started right away. So we didn't wait for anything. I started to learn about autism and what to do with autistic child, how to help him. So we work, both of us work, and we have our own firm, and we have money, and so we decided to take a private defectologist for Philip with a lot of experience working with autistic children, and she started to work with Philip every day. So she did succeed returning him in a way that he started also again developing his motor and sensor abilities slowly, and he started to notice things once more, but animals, not people. He never wanted to look at people. He would notice animals and objects in one room, but never people. I don't know why he was avoiding people all the time. So she did an excellent work. She worked with Philip for 6 years before we started the protocol, Kerri Rivera's protocol, and she did help him with working every day, sometimes a few hours. Later she started to work with Daniel when we saw something is wrong with Daniel too. She started to work with him right away, and she also helped Daniel very much with exercises, brain exercises and those things. But it was like 1% of thing that Kerri Rivera's protocol did.
So could you explain a bit more? And did you do an ATEC test before starting this therapy? And if so, what was the test result before you started that therapy? And what is it called again? I didn't quite get the name of it. Like, what did you use before that with that lady? What was her job again?
She was working on his sensor and motor abilities, so she was practicing his brain all the time.
Okay.
Doing those games, trying to get him focused, because he couldn't sit down. At first he would sit down 1 minute, and then later he, I don't know, 2 years later he could sit down and listen to something for an hour. She was doing that, trying to focus him on things and to work on his brain, on developing again abilities that he should have as a normal child. And that's not the only thing that we got with this vaccine. Almost immediately after he got his this MMR vaccine, he developed problems with his stomach. Diarrhea started. And he had diarrhea, constant diarrhea for 6 years. So every day it wasn't like 10 poops a day, it was 2 to 3. but always diarrhea, and he was not getting any kilos, and we did tests everywhere. So there isn't a clinic where we didn't take him. There isn't a test that we didn't do, and nothing came up. They didn't find anything. So he was healthy, and still diarrhea all the time, and not getting kilo.
So he was losing weight because of this problem of his colon, and
yes,
he wasn't gaining any weight, and he was also having pain.
Yes, the pain wasn't really noticeable at first, but still he also had problems with his teeth a few times, and he didn't show us that it was painful. So I don't really know before that it hurt for him to have those diarrhea things and everything, or it didn't. Later, I don't know, when he was 5 years old, he started to put my hand on his belly to show me that something is wrong inside, and I didn't know what to do. I tried to give him food that is healthy. I tried everything, but nothing worked. Everything I gave him, everything we tried to put him on a diet, to do this, it was just constant diarrhea. Nothing changed. And then he started to put my hand on his belly every night before he went to sleep, looking at me, trying to show me that something is wrong. And now I know what was wrong.
Well, and of course he wasn't able to verbally let you know because of his autism, right?
He was unverbal.
Exactly. So could you just explain to me one more time? So this lady that helped you, what was her job again? What's the name of her job?
She's a defectologist. We call that, I don't know, do you have the word for that? She's a qualified therapist for children with special needs. We call that defectologist here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think that's quite a special term for that region of the world. And could you please explain to me if you had any testing done on his level of autism before you started the treatment? And if so, what was the result of that? Did you do an ATEC test before you started that therapy, or didn't you?
We did something similar. Questions were similar at Kalcker in Zagreb, and later every year we went to this private clinic also in Zagreb, where works one of our best experts for autism. She's Dr. Skriniar. So we took Philip and Daniel every year until now, every year, to do tests to see are they going into regression or we are working good with them, and to ask for advices and to do tests. So we did that similar kind of test every year. And I would say it didn't have, we didn't see points because they would take the test later. But Philip was on the end of spectrum at that time, and Daniel was at the beginning of second. So you have that three levels. First level, it's here in Croatia, we do that like that. The first level, autistic children, they have just small issues, small autistic symptoms, and you have second level children that have bigger problems, but still are functional, and third level where are autistic children that are not functional at all. So Philip was in that third level, and Daniel at the beginning of the second.
Okay.
So we did like that, and when we did all the tests in first time when we went to this private clinic for autism, they said it must be genetic because we had two boys with syndromes, and they said that we shouldn't have any more children. And we did. So we became experts for children with special needs, and we said, okay, we are going to have another one because we love children and we love our children as they are. So even if it stays like this, even if God will give us one more, and we will be able to fight with it. So, and we will be able to be
to handle it, exactly.
Yes. So Calista Maria came, and she didn't get any vaccine. I didn't want to give her anything. And she's almost 5 years old, completely healthy, and we never even had a virus that lasted more than 3 days. Never antibiotics, never anything. She's perfect. So
okay, so you took that decision after you had your second son. So you vaccinated your second son, even though you knew that there was something wrong with the MMR vaccine. What happened to your second son? What vaccine did he receive?
My second son received all vaccines, just not that one. So we didn't want to give him the MMR, and that is why he is in so much better condition than Philip is. I guess if we gave him the MMR vaccine, he would be in the same condition as Philip. So we kind of, I do think that we saved him from falling into complete regression with not giving him the MMR vaccine. So some other vaccine did him ADHD and just some symptoms of autism.
Was it as much as a difference with your second son as it was with your first son? Did he develop the symptoms similarly, like right after the vaccine, or was it more subtle because he received different vaccines, or how did it go with your second son?
It was more settled because we were so focused on Philip and helping Philip, because it's not just our doctor or defectolog Gordana Martinovic that worked with Philip. It's also us trying to work with him all day long. So Daniel, he was developing. We didn't see any problem. He had normal poops, normal child, and so we kind of focused mostly on Philip because he was the one with the problem. And when Daniel reached when he was 1 year, when he was 1 year and a half old, one day I bought some puzzles for children, but I bought those small puzzles that adults normally put together, small parts, one big one with small parts. And I don't even know why I bought that, but I took it home and I put it in front of Daniel. So I thought he would just play with pieces, and so I put it on the floor and mixed it, and he looked at the picture, and then he looked at all those puzzles, he put the picture away, and he solved it in, 15 minutes. And an adult person it would take an hour or 2 hours to put that together, looking at the picture, and he wasn't even looking at the picture. So I was like, oh my God, Daniel, something is wrong with Daniel. Normal children, 1 year and a half old, don't do this. So I took him also to our doctor, and I said, what happened and what can Daniel do? And she sent us also to Klaicheva, Zagreb, to make tests, and we did also 15 days of all testing. And Daniel's brain, and he was 1 year and a half old, between 1.5 and 2 years old, his brain was already developed for 12-year-old child. Mm-hmm. So his brain functioned, and he had his brain working on the other way around. Normal people, I don't know, they turn informations from the left to right, and he was turning informations, processing informations from the left or from the right on the left. He started to read when he was 1 year and a half old, and he didn't learn that from us. Today, I don't know, he has that high IQ, and he can do things that normal people don't do. Usually his brain is showing function. His brain is there is light in areas in his brain that normal people don't have, and some other parts of his brain are shut down. so he can read a book even if it is turned the other way around. He doesn't have that short memory. Everything goes into long-term memory right away, and he speaks few languages as he does creation. So we have to move informations because he everything he sees he learns right away. So he is like I think it's called savant or something like that term for those kind of children, super intelligent.
Yes.
And he also developed autistic symptoms, and he's hyperactive and autistic symptoms, but just few of them. Like he wasn't social at all, and waving with his hands, and he was nonverbal also until he reached 4.5 years old. But he could write, read, and he was learning languages without problems. And
so, did you? So you said that because he was obviously different, but that wasn't really the kind of different that would make you really, really worried, was it? So you were still focusing more on Philip at that point. And so, what brought you to the Kerri Rivera's protocol and Andreas Kalcker's protocol? What brought you there? And what did you do? How did you find out about them?
Okay, do you really want me to say this? Okay, this is really weird, but I still don't know how did I hear about Kerri, because there was one day, okay, you can imagine having 3 small kids inside the house, big house on your back, and a husband and a job, and one day it was really hard, and 2 children with special needs. And one day was really hard. I was so dead when children went to sleep, and I don't know, Philip was really in a bad mood. He was screaming all day long, running through the house, fighting with Daniel. And I was so exhausted, and I really fell on my knees, and I said, God, please, I need help, because I'm going to finish in the hospital. I can't do this no more. So it's becoming too hard for me. So next morning when I woke up, I was drinking coffee, and I went to Facebook just to see what's new. And I saw this group, CD Autism, between my groups that I had. And I have never seen it before, and it was interesting. So I went in, and the first thing that I saw was, I don't know how many then, it was 180 children completely healed from autism. And I was, what? Autism isn't curable, and it's not possible. Who are these people? And so I started to read posts, and when I started to read posts, I found everything inside them. All symptoms that my children had, I found inside. And then I understood what was wrong with my children, and why did Philip had diarrhea for 6 years, and why does his stomach hurt and not sleeping. Philip, the worst symptom Philip has is insomnia. So sometimes he would be awake for 15 days, 15 nights. He would sleep like 2 hours, and then he would get up and no more sleeping until tomorrow. And it was really exhausting for me, having 3 children and not sleeping 15 days in a row. And
yes,
that was, for me, it was the hardest thing to do. So when I was started reading those posts and people really healing their children, it was like, wow, it was a shock for me. I never heard before about, I don't know, chlorine dioxide or that it's even possible to cure autism. So I searched for information first at the internet. So I found all kinds of informations, and it was really interesting to read everything about Kerri and how world is looking, and pharmacy at Kerri Rivera. And so I started also to search informations about chlorine dioxide and what can it do. I found that all over the world people are using it inside hospitals already, that people are using it, doctors are using it to heal different things. So it must be safe, even if it's chemistry. So okay, and then I took the book Healing the Symptoms of Autism from Kerri Rivera, and I started reading. And in the same time, I saw few parents announcing that their children are healed. So I was searching for contacts, and it was really hard because people are afraid of that all that bad commercial about healing autistic children, blah blah, and they are under other names inside the group. So it was really hard for me to find out who really are those people, to get in touch with them, to see their children. I wanted to see the papers. I wanted to see everything. So I became friends with one of the parents, with one lady that healed her child. I took her. I found her contact, so I called her, and we became really friends. So I could see everything. I could see her son before, her son healed now, papers, everything, and that's when I knew that I found the cure for my kids.
So just a quick question here. So basically you went into social media, you went onto the internet, you got some literature to really, really study the issue and find out about a possible cure. You found the protocol from Kerri Rivera, and then you sought some people who have actually used that protocol to heal their own kids. And this lady that you then found, was she also in where you live, or was this international? Did you meet up with these people? How did you get in touch with them? Was it mostly these people live somewhere else, or do these people live in your area?
This woman that I became friends with, she lives in Slovenia, so that's not far from here, okay, I didn't even know that there were people before me in Croatia healing their kids with Kerri Rivera's protocol. I thought I was the first one. So then when I talked to this friend of mine, when I saw that everything it took me about 8 months of collecting all the papers from all over the world about chlorine dioxide, talking to experts. I would do this, like I did do it this evening. I would find the number of an expert in America, I don't know, Skype or something, and I would send him an email. I would present myself. I would say who I am and what would I like to talk about, and if he has some time to give me, so it would be nice to talk to someone, to one expert, and they all were for it. So every other evening I had one expert inside my living room over Skype, talking and learning about autism, about neurosystem, later about intestinal parasites, about bacteria, about worms, and it took me about 8 months to learn everything. So when I had everything collected, all the papers, all the statements from all the doctors and everything, because I knew I will not be able to shut up. So I was prepared to start, and I went to our family doctor. In the meantime, we opened a park, adrenaline park in Dubrovnik, because our children needed one place to practice their motor and sensor abilities, and we didn't have really any place. Dubrovnik is a small town, and we didn't have any place to take our children to practice those things that they needed. So we decided to open our own park for our children and other children that are in need in Dubrovnik, and we opened the park. It's an adrenaline park with those climbing things and sensor things, motor things, 3 hectares. And we started and we do that without charging, for free. And we have also experts working inside our park with our children and other people's children. So I took everything I collected to our new doctor, because the old one went into retirement, and we got one other lady, one other doctor for our children, one doctor that I didn't really know. So I went there with all papers with me, and I sat down and I said, okay, You saw my Philip, you saw Daniel, you are taking care of them, and I would like to try something. Here, this is what I found. There is no help for autistic children, nobody is doing anything, and I found this woman that is really healing children, and she said, what is it about? And I said, chlorine dioxide, and she said, okay, try it. Okay, so I said, are you sure? Okay, because here, would you like to see? She said, no, she said, I already heard about chlorine dioxide, and I already heard that children are healing, so you have my blessing. Start.
Okay, this was a new doctor, though. This was not the same doctor that you spoke to before. That
this was
really...
the new doctor.
Okay.
So we transferred living into it's still Dubrovnik, but just one area that's called Konovle, where we built our park. So we transferred here to live here, so we could be closer to park and place where we work. And the doctor that we are now in, she lives here. She has her hospital, her office here. Mm-hmm. So when she said that she already heard about Kerri Rivera and that she knows that there is no harm for children, she's not an expert for chlorine dioxide, she's not a chemistician, but she heard already excellent things about children healing, and that she will be watching Philip all the time. So you can start and you will bring me Philip for examination every week. So I can follow him also. And when I got the blessing, I went to, because Philip, in the same time, Philip started with the school program, and he wasn't even able to start the school program, but I'm very loud, and I had this defectologist that was working with my children, with Philip, for 6 years, and I wanted her to be an assistant for Philip inside school. And that was the only way that Philip could enter the school program, having a defectologist, and a program that was easy for him to do, but inside a normal school. And we have small classes here in Konovle, like 8 children per one class. So it wasn't really a problem, and it was really also having good luck because near Dubrovnik it would be impossible to put a child with special needs, a child as Philip. He was non-verbal, he wasn't reacting on anything really, and we really had really good luck that we moved into Konovle area. So Philip went to school, started with the school program. So I went to the school center. And I also talked to the school manager, the school director, and the school team, defectologist, logoped, everybody that experts that work with children usually inside school. And so I also presented Kerri Rivera's protocol. I explained them what am I planning to do, what will I start doing with Philip, and I asked them if it was possible for them to write down improvements every month, so they could also watch after him and see is he improving or not. And they said yes. They were very excited because it was also something new for them, and they said yes. And so we started.
Can I just ask you, or just say something, because what I see from your story until here is that you didn't just go ahead and gave something to your son. You actually researched it, you said, for 8 months prior to actually trying it. And you went to international experts, you tried getting in touch with people internationally, and even got people involved. You spoke to your doctor before starting the treatment to get the go-ahead from your doctor, and went to the school. So really everybody was involved. Everybody who's involved with your child was involved, and you didn't just get up and started some therapy from one day to the other. So could you just, before we go on, could you just sum up what were the most important people that you spoke to prior to starting the treatment? Like, who were the most important people, you would say?
Well, everybody in Dubrovnik. Because in Dubrovnik, everybody. I went to all. I thought this is a small city, so we know each other. Everybody knows everybody here. We know all doctors. We know We know everybody knows everybody. So I spoke to everybody here, and everybody knew that Philip was here in Dubrovnik, everybody knows me because I have this park and I'm working with children normally, and everybody come to my park, so everybody knows me and who I am, and everybody knows Philip and my children, also Daniel and Kalista, my husband. So we are pretty famous in Dubrovnik. So I did talk to everybody here, and experts from the world experts. I contacted Oxford because they did study on chlorine dioxide. I also tried to contact the FDA. You wouldn't believe that because they also did a study. Yes, I did. I got all the papers from all over the world, the best clinics, World Health Organization, even in Germany, your TÜV Reinhold. How do you have?
Yeah, the TÜV, yes.
Yes, I even European Union. There is no one that I didn't contact and ask them what do they think and what chlorine dioxide is used in that country that I called. So I got. They all send me also papers. So I have papers from all over the world already patented. So chlorine dioxide is used for healing things, other things. Then autism is maybe not. It's still not accepted in healing the symptoms of autism, but it is accepted for healing the HIV, for healing some sorts of cancers. I don't know, leukemia. What did I found also? Some mental diseases, and doctors use it in hospitals, and they use it for those blood. Even here, they use chlorine dioxide to clean up the blood. When somebody has to be operated, they prepare blood types, blah, if it's needed.
Blood transfer, yes.
Yes, and they put chlorine dioxide inside before they put it inside a person. So
you found out that chlorine dioxide had actually been studied thoroughly, and that even the WHO, the FDA, the TÜV Rheinland, all these really, really big institutions, they had already studied the effects of chlorine dioxide and knew about their effectiveness.
Even World Health Organization, I have a paper at home with all signatures. They did this examination, this tests on chlorine dioxide for I don't know how much. I think 6 months on humans. So they had volunteers and they did tests. They gave volunteers even 3 times bigger doses that are usually prescribed.
So
3 times
recommended,
yes, recommended. And they didn't found no harm. They didn't found any influence on a human body. 3 times bigger doses. So, and they stopped there because there is no harm. It's impossible. And I also have a chemistry living, an excellent chemistry. He's the best in Dubrovnik, living just one house away from me. And I also called him to ask him, could he explain to me as an expert what is chlorine dioxide, how does it work, what is it used for, and where is the difference between normal chlorine, how do you say it in English, chlorine
dioxide,
you have chlorine, and you have chlorine dioxide. It's 2 different things. People are mixing those things. They say we are harming our children because we use bleach thing. But those things are different because we here in Dubrovnik, we have our water systems are disinfected with chlorine, and it's called chlorification. And how do we do that? How is it possible for the water to be disinfected? What happens inside water when you put chlorine inside? It chlorines the pathogens, bacteria. It enters them and it kills them with chlorination. Chlorine dioxide is completely different thing. It has the same name, but it has nothing with chlorine that you use for the water systems. We use it here. Now everywhere in France. For example, they use chlorine dioxide because it has no influence on a human body, so it's healthy and it's better for water systems, and it leaves no damage on a human body, because normal chlorine that we still use in Dubrovnik is leaving damage. It takes also, this is what this expert said, and he's an expert for also for the water systems in Dubrovnik. He said that it is just choosing between two bad things, because if they wouldn't disinfect our water, we would die in 3 months drinking water that is not disinfected. And with chlorine, we will only die a few years before we should. So it's choosing between two things that are damaging also do damage. And now everybody starts to use chlorine dioxide for water systems because there is no damage. It turns into salt inside human body. It leaves no damage at all. It just oxidates. It's connected to oxygen 2 times, and it oxidates. It targets and oxidates pathogens because they have different. How, I don't know in English, I'm sorry, my English is not that good. We
the chlorine dioxide doesn't do that, it's just the chlorine that does it.
Yes, and chlorine dioxide, it oxidizes the pathogens and bacteria and can target pathogens and bacteria, not touching the human body, because they have the same electricity. So like we are plus we are oxidants also. Humans are using oxygen for living, and chlorine dioxide is also oxygen, and we are the same. So chlorine dioxide is even more gentle to our body even than the oxygen that we inhale. So it's more gentle to our body. It leaves no harm, and it's impossible. That's what experts say. So
and you have the written proof of this.
Yes, we do. My God, the world already did studies before we did the study here in Croatia, and it was already written. I don't even understand who would have anything against this, because every chemistry and every expert is able to explain the world what is really chlorine dioxide. I also heard that they learned that at the college. My God, is everybody drinking coffee at the college or listening to subjects they have? Chlorine dioxide is not harm. It's not possible. It's not possible because it's connected to oxygen twice, and it's not possible to harm the body that way using chlorine dioxide. So this is the truth, and I already knew that before I stood up. So I had all the papers. I had
exactly. You went through the whole research. You did 8 months of really thorough research, and then you went to your doctor, and you were lucky enough that you had a different doctor this time, and she also knew about it, and she was willing to basically be by your side and guide you all the way, didn't she? She actually said that she will be there.
Yes, she did. She did tests. I took Philip every week for her to see him, to do those small tests just to see how is it going. And Philip started to develop excellent from the first drop. Even when we started the diet that Kerri recommends, we saw improvements, and from the first drop he started to change from, I'm sorry to say this out loud, but this is the truth, autistic children are looking like animals. My child was looking like an animal, not a human being. So he wasn't really a human being. He couldn't even imitate things. Okay, he wasn't thinking, he wasn't talking, he wasn't doing things that he should do. I was doing everything for him. I knew when he needed to drink something, to eat something. He never asked for anything, nothing.
So he was heavily autistic. He was not just a little bit autistic.
He was completely out of this world. So So when you see that your child is becoming a person, it is also something that you can't miss. So
And your doctor, she documented this journey throughout the whole time, and she actually has also documented that she did see an improvement, and she has also said that. And
yes, she was documenting everything that was concerning Philip's health. So his body, his blood. She was doing also tests. Diarrhea stopped from the first drop. When we started, diarrhea stopped. His everything went back to normal. He stopped. Philip stopped putting my arm on his belly. He started to have an excellent poop every day.
yeah, he just had normal stool, and he never had any diarrhea anymore.
Stool, no more the diarrhea. He started to sleep normally. No more insomnia. He started to gain weight. He started to accept new food I was giving him. Before that, he was eating like 5 things he wanted, and no way you could make him eat something else. He started to eat everything I give him, even things that he really didn't like before, without any problems. So he started, brain fog disappeared, he started looking at us, and then he started to talk first letters, then he started to started with words, pointing at things, calling them their names. So he already had everything inside his head. So he already knew things, but he just couldn't express himself. He couldn't. I don't really think that he could even think before, because I never saw him reacting on something really as he was thinking about something. He was everywhere and anywhere all the time, screaming and running through the house, and that was all. So when he started to point at things and name them as they should be named, and then he started to connect words into small sentences, 2 words, then 3 words, then 5 words. Now he can sing songs. He repeats everything. He finished his school at almost normal program. He is among the best children inside his class, and he wasn't even ready to enter the school system. He has all A's. We have 5. We have numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is the best grade you can get here, and he has all 5. Every subject is 5.
Wow.
So the school even bought him the laptop, the computer, to learn how to communicate with computer, because he was non-verbal. And later they took that away because he started to talk and he can answer questions and he can do tests without any problems. He started to write things. Before, he was never even taking a pencil in his hand, and now he writes. He uses colors to color things, my walls inside the house.
So everything actually went uphill from the moment that you decided to take the MMS, the chlor dioxide. So that's basically, you saw your son come back to life right after you started doing it. And you followed Kerri's protocol at that point. Did you do anything else besides that, or was it just the protocol?
No, just the protocol. We were doing as Kerri said. We were following the book, and that's it. We only did what Kerri said.
So everything went well, and you saw that you saw your son was improving. Everybody was behind it. The school was behind it. The school saw the improvement, obviously, because they bought him the laptop. They saw the grades improve, and he actually became a child like every other child in the school, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He still has issues like with communication, socialization. We still need to work on his social areas. We still need to work with his speech areas. Like, he can answer the questions. He asks things he needs now. He can, but he is not good in that too directed. He cannot talk to someone doing really a conversation for a long time. He can ask things, he can say how he feels, what he wants, I don't know, but he cannot do the real conversation on a long term. So that's the thing that we still need to work on.
Okay. And so then all of a sudden, things turned around, and all of a sudden you had people coming against you and questioning you and what you were doing to your son. And how did that start? Which kind of people were after you? What happened? Why did things turn around suddenly?
Okay, first, why did I stand up? I could do this in silence, heal my children, and pretend that nothing happened. So, or a miracle happened. But I knew that we have a big problem with autism in Croatia. The Kalcker hospital, they said every year they have 50% more autistic children than they had the year before, and this is growing into an epidemical. This has really epidemical. How do you say it?
Yeah, it's growing to be an epidemic. It's like an epidemic.
Yes,
It's so many people
it's
that
like
it's almost crazy. Yes.
Yes, even now, I think now we have on, I don't know, every 10 family, or I don't know, 8 family, we have one with autistic child, and that's a huge number of autistic children in Croatia. So I knew that other people also need help, because looking at my child, I couldn't keep it for myself. Looking at how Philip is healing, I couldn't just keep it for myself, and Kerri also needed help, because everything I saw around is Kerri being attacked, for I don't really understand why, and people afraid. And I had all the papers saying that there is nothing to be afraid of. And that's why I stood up to help Kerri, to spread the word, and to help other families in Croatia. And I stood up and I showed my Philip, and I said what we were doing, and it went out in a minute. So one day after, you had all newspapers, TV houses, everybody standing up, and 90%, 99% against me. So doctors, experts from Croatia saying about chlorine dioxide, that it's not possible that it can target the bacteria or pathogens inside the body, that it can do harm, that it should never, 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 ever be taken inside water. And we have, I don't know how many towns in Croatia we already use chlorine dioxide to purify the water. So for me it was really funny. They say that because we are drinking it every day when you open your pipe at home. So okay, and I entered the fight. So I was meeting them on TV, radio stations, all those experts, and I would just ask them, okay, give me names. You say that it's killing people, killing children, hurting children. I don't know what blood through the bloody intestinal tract, or I don't know what damage can. Okay, give me one name. Just one name, or you can search, I don't know, all, because I did that for 8 months. I didn't find anybody anywhere hurt by chlorine dioxide in the whole world. Give me one name, and okay, I will admit that you are right and I'm wrong. And they couldn't give me not one name in a whole world that was hurt by chlorine dioxide, using chlorine dioxide in prescribed amounts. So everything became more fun when somebody sued me. They sent letter suing me for abusing my children and my husband also separately. They sent the letter to the child defender or children's defender of Croatia, and she had to send it to DORH, our internal police. And And I was sued, and I finished at the court, and I had to fight to prove that I'm right. And so I took lawyers, me and my husband. We both took one lawyer for each other, and I have excellent lawyers. So when we first, and I gave all the papers on the court I had collected in 8 months, and they were falling out of conscience because you had those things that our experts said on the TV and newspapers. They were saying that's the first time that I really heard about I don't know, Jim Humble, the man that really invented the chlorine dioxide. So I started also searching information about Jim Humble. And it was I afraid? Well, at one point it was a bit stress for us because the police entered our house. They had to also. They did the complete research. My children were. Daniel asked them, "Will you take my mother away?" So we are the family with 2 children with special needs. So it wasn't very nice. And they took me for a day at the station, and I had to take all my papers, everything I had. They took my computer. They wanted to see everything about Kerri. I had everything about the protocol. And when they went into papers, they looked at me and they were really angry when they entered. They really thought that was somebody was abusing the child because they came here for child abusement. And when they saw papers, when they saw in what condition was Philip before, and when they saw my child now, they said, okay, but we don't see any abusement here, and chlorine dioxide is approved in the whole world is using this. Why are you sued for? Okay, and they didn't understand anything. So when I explained them what is going on and what happened, what really happened, and when they saw, they also went in to see the autism group of Kerri Rivera, and when they saw the children are really healing, they got all the contacts from families that are doing it with their real names, papers, and everything. They had a warrant. How do you say it? So they, yeah, they warrant. They. Police has a warrant. How do you say it in English?
Warrants, yes.
Yes.
Warrants, yes.
So people had to give them their real names and their papers, and children, and especially children that were healed before, because then I find out that in Croatia we already had children healed with Kerri Rivera's protocol, many families on Kerri Rivera's protocol. And it was really a surprise for me because I thought I was the first one, but I wasn't. So later police took us into protection, and they were like angels all the time, watching that something doesn't happen to us and that we can live our life normally. And later also the social service came in, and they had to also, because we were sued, to see what was going on. And we are one family with 2 children with special needs, so they have to, every year they have to pay us a visit. It's normal. And when they saw Philip and they have seen him 1 year before, they were also falling out of conscience. They said, okay, whatever you are doing with your child, just keep doing it. And they went away, and then they never came back. So it was at first it was maybe stressed, but later I was very, very happy because somebody sued me, because there wasn't any other way really to prove that everybody is wrong about chlorine dioxide and that it's not harmful. And because when you have experts talking about things, everybody believes them. And when you have somebody...
Can you just explain why did people go against you? Was it because you went to the media and you actually went public, or how did actually people come to the idea to go and sue you?
Why? Because I don't know, to be honest, I don't really believe in those theories about pharmacy. Well, I'm sure that Big Pharma is not very happy that somebody is using something not approved by them as a cure. And I can understand that, because money runs the world. And but on the other hand, there were people attacked before us for using things that were not really medicine, cure for something, and later accepted and went inside pharmacies, like oil from cannabis. We just got in Croatia our first shipment, and now people are using it. Like, I don't know, soda. That poor doctor that first stood up and said that soda is healing things. They took him his license. He was banned forever, and they ruined the man's life. And now you have soda. You can buy soda in every pharmacy you enter. So it always goes like this. And I knew that already, and that's normal. So. But I don't really believe. I think that the main problem in autism is that nobody is doing any tests. Nobody is doing any research on autism. It is happening. We have 50% plus autistic children every year, and nobody is really doing anything. And I asked my country while I was on TV, why don't you do some tests? Here, I will give you my Philip. You can start looking at him, do tests, do whatever you like, but prove that I'm right. And they said, okay, but it costs a lot of money, and we don't really have money to do one big thing like that. So our country doesn't have sources to do examinations or tests or study on autism like that. So that is the main problem. Nobody is investing money into this. Nobody really sees any useful thing about healing children with something that will cost you just €20 and healing things with that. So I think that's the main problem. And here, so later we won the court and we proved that chlorine dioxide is not harmful, that it really can attacks only bacteria and parasites and other things inside human body that shouldn't be inside, and that it cannot even touch the human body or do any harm. Our toxicology center, the forensic toxicology center, Ivan Vucetic, it's the best toxicology center in Croatia, did tests on chlorine dioxide for about 4 months, and they didn't find any harmful influence of taking chlorine dioxide in drops in water in amounts recommended by Kerri Rivera. So, and later they gave it all to our Croatia public health Croatia public health institution. It's the biggest health institution in Croatia, and they did tests for 15 days or so, and they also confirmed that there is no damage from there can be no damage from chlorine dioxide if it is taken in the amounts that are prescribed. So that's it. And the media, a nice story and
Yes.
a happy story doesn't sell the newspapers or make people turn one channel on TV and always money. And so when I stood up, it was like, oh, bleach woman. And that was the news, and everybody was spending money to buy newspapers, and that was great. And now I won, and everybody knows I won. All those experts that were standing against me, attacking me, all newspapers, TV houses, everybody knows I won already. I went also public now. And you can't find a word inside newspapers or on TV now. They are all in silence, silence, silence. So I wonder who will be the first one to announce it.
So So the study about the toxicity, was it being asked for by the court itself?
Yes, they had to do it. That was the thing that was that was the most important thing, because someone sued me for abusing my child, and now I had to prove that Philip wasn't abused, that we are helping him to heal, and that was the main thing that had to be proved, that chlorine dioxide is not harmful,
not toxic. Yes.
and that it did no harm to Philip. So we did all the possible tests we had to. And we proved that Philip is in much better shape than he was before, that his autistic symptoms are, that most of his autistic symptoms are lost, and that we did no harm to him, that he is healing. So that's what we did.
And so at that point, you still had all the haters against you, this group of doctors on the internet, other interest groups. They were all still after you. And when did that stop? How long did it take for that to stop? Was this
until other news came into our place, our place of our news. So it stopped. It lasted for a month or so. My name was everywhere, so all media, internet, with Bleach Woman from Croatia, all over the world. So I became very famous. And there is one person that started everything. So it isn't the pharmacy. I don't even think they care about chlorine dioxide or Kerri Rivera or healing autistic children. They don't really care about all that. Doctors also, they don't really, I don't know, our experts, I really do not have the impression that experts for autism are really doing the work they should do. They accepted the thing that autism is not curable, and they are not doing any research. They are not asking questions or trying to find out where did this come from. Nothing. So it's hard for me, and I'm not a specialist or anybody. I'm just a normal person, to prove experts something when they have diploma and they think they are gods. And this is very hard to break through. This is very hard to prove. And there is one person, because all those experts talking about chlorine dioxide, when I stood up, it was fast. They didn't have any time even to look into papers what chlorine dioxide is. They all went public, and not even knowing what really chlorine dioxide is. And they said all those things without reading any papers, any studies, world studies or anything. So they were all wrong, but they are experts, and they were expecting people to believe that, because they have the diplomas. And then I came with papers from all over the world, and I won. So, and there is one person. Where did this all start? This wrong, this attacking Kerri Rivera and those awful things you can see on the internet about bleach, and I don't know, one person on the whole world, and her name is Fiona, and she lives in Ireland, and she is an activist. She has 5 children, and one is, I think, autistic. One of her children is autistic, and she is the only enemy that Kerri Rivera has. She is intelligent, she is loud, and she is dangerous. And she is the one that was sending letters to our court, police, and everything, and she's the reason I was sued. And so she's the one that puts all the things on the internet, false things about chlorine dioxide. And I don't know why does she do that. I tried to talk to her, but there is no way even to talk to that woman. She is just repeating same things, and she doesn't even want to listen to anything. She's convinced she's right. She's attacking Kerri Rivera, CD protocol, and there is no sense. Nobody ever was hurt. Children are just healing, and she's attacking Kerri like crazy, calling police. She even tries to find out the names of, like she saw me. She tries to find out names of people that are using chlorine dioxide or Kerri Rivera's protocol to heal their children. She sends them police, she reports them to court, sending letters to experts, writing terrible things. And those experts...
And she's just an individual, you think?
Yes, she is. One person in the whole world. You wouldn't believe that. This is why this internet thing is not that good, because one person can really do a miracle if she wants to, and this Fiona. So I tried to when I found out that she was the one sending letters. She was in cooperation with some Serb group, also Facebook group made of doctors, experts, I don't know what. She was contacting them, and then they send also letters to everywhere in Croatia from Serbia. You won't believe this. And that's when everything became so stressed here and our media went wild. And I also have document saying that a few of our medias were paid to write down the things that they wrote, and I have it on written. So that's how it started. One person in the whole world, and I tried to find out why would she do that, because Kerri Rivera never even spoke to this woman, never returned any email this woman is sending her, and she's also sending police to Kerri Rivera, trying to make her life miserable all the time, attacking her with any means anything she can find, or she does not find. She lies everywhere. So, and the police, when you report something, they have to react. They have to go, they have to check everything, they have to do things, they have to sue you, you have to finish, you have to go and defend yourself. So it's a bit stressful when you have, I don't know, 8,000 people on your back trying to help them.
But even there, you had a positive experience with the police and everybody involved, that you actually found out that, you know, when things are as they are, as you said they are, that your son is healing and that he's not being harmed and that you're not abusing your son. You actually had everybody on your side in the end, didn't you?
Yes, I did. But I also, I wasn't afraid, because these things cost money. So that's why people are afraid of standing up. Not because they think they are doing something wrong, or I don't know. They just, normal people, 90% of normal people, they don't have the money to hire lawyers or to defend themselves on the court, or to let the police enter their houses whenever they want to, or I don't know what. Normal people have enough problems living with children with special needs, trying to heal them, to help them, and to fight at the same time with, I don't know, I've fought my whole country for a few months. Normal people can't do that. So that's why people are afraid. That's why they are under different names inside the group, to protect their privacy, not because they are wrong or they think they do something wrong or hurting their children. They just try to protect their family and to do what they are supposed to do, to help their children. So, and this Fiona, I think she was abused when she was a child. I found that, and now she is mistaken Kerri for her own father, I think, and so that's why she does this. So I think that she is the one that should be observed.
Yes.
And here,
and how did you do this? So there was a toxicity study from the court, and were there any other institutions that checked the therapy and how it worked for autism? Was there anybody else involved to prove that this protocol you were following was actually healing the autism of your son? Was there any other institution involved?
Okay, we did all the tests we were sent to do. So we did the tests on Philip's body and his mental abilities now, autism. Also, we paid a visit to all the experts we could find, and we also did tests in private clinics to be able to prove from our side that Philip is healing. So we have that everything written. So also one problem was because our doctor and the school, they all accepted the protocol, and me healing my child and watching after him. So they were writing down his progress all the time. But when this whole thing started in my country, in media, newspapers, they were all scared, as they thought that if they made a mistake because they were not the experts for chemistry, and what if I was wrong. So they were very, very scared, and the police also went to school, in all kindergartens, searching for children that are maybe on some sort of diet, searching for parents, that maybe more parents that are doing it. Later they found all names, all parents in all Croatia that are doing it, and we are like 2,000. So what
Wow.
would you do with 2,000 people?
Yes, so there was already a movement behind all of this. So you found out through your own journey that there was a huge movement in your country already taking place without anybody
there were already parents
actually
and
going
children
public as you
healed.
did. You were the
Yes.
first one.
That stood up, not even knowing that somebody could do me harm for saying that my child is healing, because I thought that was the good news, that now I will make all those experts look at the protocol, and okay, you don't have to accept it as a official cure, but one of the ways that you could heal autistic child, why not, if it is working, and we have all documents saying that it works. So where is the problem? My country doesn't even need any study. We did everything. We won the court. We have those tests from our best toxicology center. We prepared everything. Now they should only start to listen. So I don't know how to make them listen. Okay, now it's so good to do the protocol, taking out those bottles on the beach or everywhere, knowing that you are free, that nobody can. No, it's so good. Now I'm really happy that we did this, because being free is the best thing that can happen to a person. Because before we stood up, we were also under pressure, a bit scared, something that it's in the gray zone, blah, blah. Never too sure that you are doing something right. And now we are completely, this became the way of living for us.
Well, Helena, could you tell us a bit more about the parasites, and if you've had them checked with your son Philip? And did you have any examinations done with parasites? And if so, what was found in these examinations? Was there anything found that was out of the ordinary? Or can you tell us a bit more about this when you started the protocol?
Okay, when we started the protocol, strange things started to go out of my child, and believe me, those are not intestines. They have heads and tails. So many different things. So not just one, different things. We had around 100 long things, long slimy things, about 40 centimeters long. We had some small red things, millions small red going out, looking like small worms, 1 centimeter to even 10 centimeters long. And we had that yellow mucus eggs, millions. So I even bought the microscope a good one to see what is going on, what is going out of my child. So and then I would compare those things with pictures and studies on worms on the internet, real studies on intestinal parasites, and I found many of them. I found the match. So I started sending it to parasite centers, first in Dubrovnik, and I would take the parasite out. I would put it inside one small bottle, and I would send it to the center. And everything I would come back is tests on parasites negative, and that was really strange, because I knew that these things going from Philip are not part of his body. It's not possible. So 100 things of 40 centimeters, it's not possible to something like that to go out and to be nothing. So I started to learn how do the parasitologists work. What do they do? What kinds of tests? Why do I get test negative? Because I look at the pictures at the internet and I read the studies of the world's famous experts for parasites, and I see the match. It's the same thing going out, and I send it to be tested. I get nothing. How is it possible? So after, I don't know, 10 negative tests, I went to the lab and talked to them, and I asked them, well, I brought one big worm with me inside one bottle, and I asked the lady that was doing tests, what is this? What would you say that this is? You are the expert. And she took the bottle and she looked inside and she said, okay, this is a worm, intestinal worm. White species, she said, it looks like Ascaris. Why? And I said, okay, because I'm sending you all the time those worms and I get the test results negative. And she said, okay, but you are sending worms. We do not work with worms. We are just searching eggs in stool samples. That's the problem. You are sending worms and we cannot identify worms. We are not the lab to identify the worms. There is another center in Split where you have to send the worms. So I took the contact. It's a private clinic for worms in Split, and I called the lady that is the specialist for worms, and I asked her how to send those things, and she said nothing. Just put them inside one small glass bottle or something, and send it to my address. And so I sent it like that, and it was traveling with the post office for 3 days from here. I don't know what. Later she did tests and she found nothing again, test negative. And then I was so angry and I called, I even went to the veterinarian office. We have one big veterinarian institution, how they call it here in the running, and I took those bottles with those worms there just to see the reaction of one expert that does work with animals, but he also is an expert for intestinal parasites, because dogs, cats, and other animals also have those worms. And I took it there and I gave him the bottle and I said, what is this? And he said, okay, why are you asking stupid questions? This is Ascaris. And I said, okay, could you send it to the lab for me, please? And he said, okay, but where did this come from? I had the dog before, so I knew the man. We don't have any more dog as a pet, but I had one before, and he thought that I took it from my dog. And I said, no, this came out of Philip. And then he sat down, and he was really sweating, and he said, oh, that's not possible. Do you know what Ascaris does to a human being? What does it do to intestinal tract, and I don't know what? It does holes, it goes through. And so it's a big he was in complete shock. And then I took those bottles home, and when Philip, when one other big worm went out, I contacted PCI Europe, Dr. Amin Omar. He is the best parasitologist in the world, and I contacted him and his team, and I said what was going on, and they asked me right away to send pictures of those things leaving Philip's body. So I did send them, and then they asked me to send something that I catch. So we did the DNA, and I said I sent them that yellow. There is some yellow. I don't know how to call it. It's like children are playing with those things, slimy things from boxes. It's usually those children toys, slimy toys look like that. And that came out of Philip in kilos. So I took one sample of that and I sent it to PCR Europe, and the test returned that it is mucus, but kind of mucus that body is producing only if it's under attack of worms and bacteria, so that my child has infection in his intestinal tract and that he is under attack of worms and bacteria. And then they wanted me to do the deep stool test. I had to follow some protocol, and we did it. It lasted for a while. And now they are doing this deep stool tests where we will get names of worms and species that attacked Philip. In the same time, we did tests in our best hospital for intestine for children. For this, it's Dr. Zitko in a hospital called Firule in Split. She's the best doctor for intestinal tract for children. And we did tests with Philip there, and she also gave us the test result where it is visible that Philip has improved in every possible way.
Okay, so so now what I would like to know is, what would you recommend a mom like yourself who notices that her child has had some really severe changes in behavior and everything after a vaccine? What would you recommend that mom or dad, those parents? What would you do for their kids? What would you do in their place? Or we've heard of what you've done, but of course you've also gone through a lot of experiences, and not everybody has such a strong network like yourself to protect them from police, from social services, from the courts. I mean, you do have to have resources. So what would you recommend mums and dads of autistic children did if they wanted to help cure their kids?
First thing that I would say, and this is very, very, very important, I don't really think that vaccines are the problem. They are only one part of the puzzle. Why? Because we are all infected. My whole house is on the protocol. Me, my husband, people we work with, my family, my close family, and the one that is not that close. And we are all on the following Kerri Rivera's protocol, and we have the same species going out as my child is letting go of. So we are all infected. So what happened? Why are our children infected? I really do not believe that those worms are coming from vaccines or something like that. I don't understand the vaccines at all, but I don't really believe that, because we have many species. We have already tests, people doing tests, and they are all positive on many species. So it's not just one. Children have 5 to 10, even 10 different species of worms, and I don't know how many different species of bacteria inside their body. And toxins are making neurological problems and creating autism symptoms. So what happened? Why do our children, why do we have, why our children are falling into autism and regression after the vaccine? Because it affects the immune system. So it is also possible that I'm also infected, so that I transferred those worms to my children. It's very easy because even when you are pregnant, worms can go through that placenta and enter the child's body while you are still carrying your child. So children can be born infected. And if when children are getting the vaccine, it's very important that they are healthy before getting vaccine. And if children are not healthy, it creates problems. Our children were vaccinated and they were already infected with worms. And what happened? What happens when you get vaccine and when you have some kind of infection and that you don't know of? Your immune system falls down, and those parasites or any kind of things that shouldn't be inside our body and they are there, like bacteria or other species, there is nothing to stop them from reproducing. Because our immune system, I'm infected. Why don't I have the autism? Why am I healthy? Because I have a strong immune system that keeps them inside my intestinal tract. They cannot go out, and my immune system is killing them. So I have only one small amount left, and their toxins are not interfering with my neural system. But children, when they are babies, they have immune system that is not strong, and vaccine on that immune system falls down in 3 days completely, and those parasites, they can go out of intestinal tract and they spread all over the body. They found nice place to live. In 3 days, 10 maybe parasites. You have millions in 3 days, because just one ascaris can reproduce 200,000 eggs per day. It's a normal amount. Look at those. Try to search real studies on worms. They are reproducing fast, very, very, very fast. Million eggs per day. And when your immune system isn't working, they reproduce in abnormal amounts, and later immune system cannot rise up again. It stays on the floor, and you get autistic symptoms, and you get autism and other diseases. So that's all. I think that if we did tests on Philip's blood before, if we searched for eosinophils or something that would show us that he has pathogens or worms inside his body before he was vaccinated, none of this would happen. We would heal him, and we would be sure that he is completely healthy. I don't even think that he would react on vaccines. So that is the main problem. Vaccines are only one small part of the puzzle. The more important thing is that we are all infected. We all have those parasites inside our bodies. We carry them, and they are causing diseases. So I think 90% of diseases today are caused by toxins that are losing these animals living inside us. So this is the first problem. Nobody is taking care of that, and nobody talks about that. And Dr. Amin Omar, he is the best world's parasitologist, and he says that among 10 people, only maybe one is not infected with at least 10 different species. So this is the big problem, and we are transferring that on our children. We have tourism, people coming from China, those faraway countries. They bring other species here, and we mix with them, species that are not even inside our computers. So when you have one species that is unknown here and you give it to be tested, you get tests negative. Why? Not because that is not a worm, but because we have no DNA of that worm inside our computer, because it comes from China. We don't have China worms inside computers in Europe. and that's the second problem. And I would also advise people that this is really very simple. Autism is treatable, curable, and it's very simple to do it. Anybody could do this, and all children can really be healed. This is the problem. There is no other problem. It is not genetical disease, or I don't know what. It's simple and it's curable. So the other thing is that it's very important for family to do it together, because you can get your child healed, so he can lose all pathogens he has inside, and you can reinfect him again, and he can fall into autism once again. So it's very important for everybody to be cleaned up. So this is the problem. We do not have only problem with autism, but we have one big problem with this is
the main cause of the problem.
Yes, I think this is the main cause of any problem, any disease, and anybody's. It's not just autism, cancers, and skin problems, and schizophrenia, and all other. Kerri Rivera once said that if the CD protocol would enter mental institutions, hospitals, that in a month there wouldn't be anybody inside. So this is the evil of 21st century. We all have parasites inside, and we do not know that, and they are creating problems.
So where's your son today? Where's your son Philip today? How does he feel? What is he like? And how many years has it been since you started the protocol for the first time?
So we are still new on the protocol. We are about six months on the protocol, and usually it takes. It also depends on how much child is infected. So Philip is highly infected. Daniel is not that high infected. Philip's immune system is not working that good, and Daniel's immune system is fighting better than Philip's. So it depends how quickly will the child be healed. It depends on how much he is and with which species is he infected. So it's also different if you have one ascaris with 200,000 eggs per day, or one species with 10 eggs per day. And it takes time. So you need to first to get rid of all big worms. And then you need to get rid of all small baby worms, and you need to get rid of all eggs, because if there is just one egg left inside, I don't know, in a month once more you have a big problem. So it lasts. I don't know, for some children are already healed in a period of 6 months completely, and some children it takes about a year and a half to be completely healed, so with no autistic symptoms, and they lost all the autistic symptoms. Their attack is now 0, and they still have monsters going out, so they still need to do the protocol to the point where you see nothing inside, and we are all doing tests all the time. We found excellent also doctors for parasites in Slovenia, in America, that are really doing tests with microscopes, not machines. So places where we can be tested, and where they also follow our children. And once when we are sure that there is no egg left, we will stop the protocol, but it lasts for a year and a half, for some children even 2 years of protocol to be completely healed. So
in just 6 months of being on the protocol, your son has gone from being nonverbal and being a special needs kid to being the top of his school, being communicative, maybe not like other kids that don't have autism, but compared to how he was before, he's gone a long way in just 6 months on the protocol, hasn't he?
Yes, and it's really it's really incredible I don't even remember how was it before, so I remember that it was hard, but I can't remember now how did he look like before. I already forgot it. So it was one thing that I find most touching for me is once and after maybe 2 months of protocol, I found Philip in our bedroom. I have those large mirrors on the wardrobe thing, and he was standing in front of the mirrors, raising his hands, touching his eyes, his ears, his hair, turning around, looking at his legs, not believing that that's him. So I understood that was the first time that he got the whole picture, that was the first time that he was able to look at himself in the mirror. He was getting to know himself. He was so happy, just walking around and raising his one hand and the other hand and one foot and the other foot in complete shock, laughing, then looking at his teeth, so touching his hair. And I was standing at the door crying, looking at him, how he is getting to know himself.
Because, he's really exploring himself and getting to know the world around himself. Yes.
Yes,
he's waking
like
up.
A small child. Yeah, he has the body of an 8-year-old, and he just woke up like one small baby. Now he needs to learn everything from the start, and he's 8 years old. So you can imagine how confusing everything for him is now. Lots of informations, everything is moving fast. So he's trying to catch up, but it's great. I don't know. I don't anymore. I don't even feel the difference between him and Daniel. We also started the protocol with our other son, Daniel, and we have excellent results. Daniel didn't, because when police came in, it was easy to keep Philip on the protocol. If someone would jump in again, I could hide one bottle while we were in the process, and 2, it was already so we decided to wait a bit to win the court and then to start Daniel. And we did, and we started Daniel. He's reaching his full dose now, and he's already starting to be social. He's socializing without problems now. He has friends, and a lot of things changed. Like, he was obsessed with computers, and now he doesn't even turn it on during the day. So those are big steps for one child with special needs. So Daniel has a huge attack fall, I think, and he didn't even reach the full dose yet. So we are very, 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 very happy.
Yes, this is amazing. It's an amazing story, and that you've been so strong throughout, and you're really an inspiration to most parents out there that have an autistic kid and don't know where to turn and what to do, and lots of people, as you have seen in your own example, lots of people have been on the protocol and are scared to come out and tell the world about it and let people know just how well this is working. So thank you very much for your courage, and also thank you very much for having taken the time for this interview tonight.
You're welcome, and I wish that we can put an end to this autism thing once and for all, starting from today, because when one won the court, this is European court, because we are in the European Union, nobody ever will be sued again. So it's not possible. You have to just refer to our case, and from today everybody is free to heal their children with chlorine dioxide. So this was the main thing we wanted to do. Now people can get help, and children can start healing from this evil 21st century.
Yes, and now this whole thing has been backed up legally, and thanks to your thorough research and also all the documents you've accumulated, now there's a precedence for all the mothers and fathers out there who want to cure their own children using MMS or chlorine dioxide. And thank you very much once again. And
you're welcome. Thank you.
Helena, did I understand you right, that you don't actually think that vaccines are a bad thing? You're not really anti-vax. You're just saying that if a child does get vaccinated, it should be healthy, and that, you know, if it already has parasites in the body and then get vaccinated, that this can then be the trigger for autism, but not that vaccines are per se a bad thing. Is this right?
Yes, I am saying that children, they need to be completely healthy, not just their nose not running, but parents should do the blood tests, everything to prove that the whole body of the child is completely healthy. Even allergies can be the trigger. So child has to be completely healthy to be safely getting a vaccine. So to be sure that later you won't have any problems. So, and that's it. It's
perfect.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. I think that's
I hope so.
that. Yes.